All right. Good afternoon, everybody. If you have not seen my face before, my name is Lance Bradley. I am our public information communication specialist, and I am here to talk to you about our elementary reopening plan and to live on a little bit of caffeine. Um, what I'll start out by saying is I started at the district about a month before COVID hit. And ever since then, we've kind of been in this distance learning situation, and there's been these ever changing guidelines from the state and federal government. Sorry, I just ran in here. And it's been really hard to nail down a plan that's been cohesive and what seems to work for everybody, because everybody's situation is a little bit different. But what I can tell you is, and this is kind of how I want to start this, is pretty much every single day since we've been in distance learning, the district leadership, our staff, the first thing on their minds is how do we get these kids back to normalcy? Um, Not once has there ever been any kind of talk about, how do we keep our children from coming to school? How do we remain in this distance learning model? Because we understand that it's not normal, and it's been difficult for a lot of families. Um, but we have to take the state guidelines and federal guidelines into account, and we really got to think about our employees' safety as well as our student safety. So luckily, we're finally at a point where we can start talking about reopening on April 6th. And I'm going to go over some FAQs. So I opened up sort of a forum yesterday. It was mainly on Facebook. And then I've also received a great deal of emails from concerned parents, excited parents, parents that are really worried about what the schedule is going to look like, why there were these drastic changes between our schedules, from the one that was submitted in November, to the one that went out this week. And I am going to cover all of that for you. So just to offer some clarity on the schedule, and feel free, I'm not on the live chat right now, but I will be popping over to the live chat after I get off of my talking points page here. So let's talk about the schedule. There were a lot of questions about the schedule. So that hybrid schedule that was published earlier this week, I know there's some asterisks on there, and that sort of confused a lot of people. The asterisks were more for our employees, because that was also a schedule that we had sent to our teachers. So the asterisks, they don't mean anything other than basically what kind of subjects will be taking place during those learning periods. But so all students, regardless of which learning model you decide to choose, if you choose distance learning or if you decide to choose in person, all students will be distance learning off-site from 9 a.m. until 11:45. And it's this instruction period that is going to take place with their same teacher they've had all year long, obviously barring any changes for substitutes. But we really wanted to mitigate that seemed to be a large issue, and we agree. Changing students teachers at this point in the year it would have been really difficult, and it's already been a pretty difficult year. So they will be meeting online at home or wherever they've been doing online learning, um, and that includes our cohorts as well, which I'll get into more here towards the end. But from 9 o'clock to 11:45, everybody's distance learning. This is going to be their core instruction with their current teacher. And then starting at 1 p.m., this is kind of where it changes. So those that stay in distance learning, starting at 1 p.m., they're going to be working on asynchronous work. And depending on the school site, every school site is going to be a little bit different. Our district leadership team is actually meeting with our principals right now, and they are talking about what the afternoon is going to look like. And the direction that's been given is for each school site to do what's best for their students, because from the district level, we don't have nearly the intimate relationship with students that our school sites do. So starting at 1 p.m., distance learning will continue for those that are staying in distance learning, but it's most likely going to be in an asynchronous manner. Asynchronous meaning there may not be live instruction, or there could be recorded instruction, or there's a lesson that a teacher has set up for for your students to complete on one of our online distance learning apps. Maybe it's a packet to complete. Maybe it's art. Maybe it could be really be a full range of things, just because each school site will be different. And as we get near to spring break, our principals will start pushing out more information to you regarding what the afternoon is kind of going to look like. So that covers our students that are staying in distance learning. For those that will be coming back in person, their in-person day is going to begin at 1 p.m. on their designated day. So we're going to have two separate groups. We're going to have Group A and Group B. There's no preference choice on the survey like there was, I think, on an earlier one. So what our school sites are going to do is they're going to start splitting up these students that want to come back in person into Group A and Group B. And you'll know plenty in advance before you have to start bringing your child to school. It's not going to be hey, it's Friday, you need to have your child to school on next Tuesday. And so split up between those two groups. We have, let's say your child gets selected for Group A, which is Tuesday, Thursday. They're going to come on campus starting at 1 o'clock on that Tuesday and Thursday, and they're going to stay there till 2:45, which is dismissal. And they're going to take place again in some learning enrichment opportunities. It's going to be a lot like what we're offering our distance learning students. We want to keep the learning experience the same across the board for both of these groups of students. They're going to have the opportunity to come to a school site safely. They're going to be able to interact with their friends. They're going to be able to interact with teachers that are on site, with staff that's on site, just to kind of ease them back into getting back to in-person instruction. And it seems like a short period of time, but it's going to meld really well with after-school clubs and activities. So a lot of our school sites are going to have after-school clubs and activities that your students will be able to roll right into if they're coming to on-site learning. Sorry, I'm just going through my talking points here. I want to make sure I cover everything. Okay, if you choose the in-person option, you're essentially enrolling your student into that in-person learning on their designated schedule. So you will want to bring them each day. It's going to be treated just like regular attendance. So if you sign up for the in-person option and you're only able to make it 1 day a week, it may not be the best option for you or for your student, because attendance will come into play. And just like always, if something were to ever come up, you should contact your school site and discuss any attendance problems or future absences that your student might be running into. For after school childcare, we are still working on a plan for after school childcare, and we will hopefully have an update for you very soon. As of right now, we do not have a solid program established, but the minute we do, we will push the information out to you. And if you want to wait to put in your survey until that point, that's perfectly fine. You have until March 5th to put in your survey. So there's no need to complete it today if you're waiting for more information to come out. Or if you have more questions, by all means, ask. You can ask your school site administrators. You can send me an email, give me a phone call. Just call our front desk, and somebody will be able to answer those questions for you before you submit your response. So pick up and drop off. This was another big question. Will you be able to drop your students off earlier than 1 p.m. For those that are going to be attending in person? This is where it's going to be different for each school site. And as we get closer, you're going to want you're going to want to talk to your specific school site about this, because from the district level, we're not going to, we're not going to tell the schools what time they need to let students on campus. It really, a lot of it has to do with, the entering and exiting of students and the space that we can allot, so that we still have to abide by these state and federal regulations to keep our students and really our community safe, from the pandemic we're still living through. Okay, talk about cohorts. If you have a student in a cohort, I know many of you are extremely concerned about the cohort program changing, the cohort program coming to an end. And I can tell you that everybody is working to ensure our cohorts will remain on site and they will continue to participate in distance learning. You still want to submit a response for your learning method preference within the Aeries parent portal, because school sites will start calling just to, if you haven't put in a response yet, just know if you have a cohort, really shouldn't see a whole lot of changes. The cohort program has been great for many of our students, and you just need to stay in contact with your school site, and if you have any concerns, they should be able to answer them for you. Okay, the big question, why did the schedule change with such short notice? Throughout the whole pandemic, and I said this earlier, reopening has been a moving target for our district leadership, for administrators, for parents, really for everybody that's a stakeholder in our community. And there's been a lot of comparison out there that there's been a lot of people that like to compare us to privates or charters, or compare us to other districts of like size. But really, every district and every single school is facing a completely different issue. Every community is different, and every community has handled this pandemic differently. So rather than, I'm not going to compare us to anybody else. All I can tell you is that we've done everything we absolutely can, to try and get our students back in a safe manner. And we really are trying our best to make sure that your students are taken care of and that they're safe. When this new schedule was proposed, initially, our initial schedule that was proposed in November, would have had more time in person, but it also would have had students change their teachers. And we did receive an incredible amount of feedback about, the relationships that these students have built with their teachers, and sort of how bad it would be to break that social relationship for a lot of our students. There's, for our kindergartners, for our transitional kindergartners, for students that just got to this district, they don't know anything other than distance learning, and they've probably built a fairly strong relationship with their teacher this year. And so in an effort to mitigate that, we developed this schedule, which again our whole team worked on. Everybody looked at, and everybody had a say in it. But this was our option to ensure that your child's teachers wouldn't change, and they're not going to. Your child's teacher is going to stay the same during the morning. Okay, I am unable to access my Aeries parent portal account. I've received a ton of these phone calls and emails. I did used to work in the technology department, and I offered, technical support, but I no longer work over there. But you, by all means, are more than welcome to call our technology help desk. They are at 909-797-0174, extension 5847. And our help desk should be able to help you out. But also, our school sites are generally the ones that handle our Aeries parent portal access questions. Um, so if you're having any issues getting into your parent portal, it is important that you get into your parent portal. Um, at the elementary level, the accounts are generally automatically created. However, sometimes you have to add your student with your email. It is really easy. It's really quick. And we are going to be pushing out more info through the Aeries parent portal as the school year progresses. And we get into talking about our summer school jumpstart program, or we even start talking about the 21-22 school year enrollment. So back into cohorts. Our cohort program, although it's staying in place, we are no longer opening entry for cohorts because in order to keep enough space available for our students that are going to be returning on site, we have to move the cohort program and close it down with the students remaining in there, and then start to focus on opening up our hybrid model for the remainder of the school year. So I am clicking back over, and I have a ton of Q&A. So let me start answering these for you. Okay, safety measures in the classroom. So we still have to abide by, state and federal regulations. We still have to listen to the CDC. We still, just like you were to go anyplace else right now in our community, you have to wear a mask. You have to social distance. It's going to be the same thing in the classroom. We're going to be cleaning, making sure everything is disinfected. We are going to have barriers up. They're going to be putting in hand wash stations in the playground areas. As far as it being excused from wearing a mask, if you have a note by a doctor, that would be a school site question. So I would recommend you reach out to your school site and see what they say about it. I don't want to speak too much into the school site's business. I really am just trying to give a summary of what we have going on at the district level. Okay, if you just joined, you can absolutely watch this video later. I will be posting it. It's still going to be live on this YouTube channel. If you want to subscribe, by all means, it'll always be here for you to view. Unless for some reason I don't like looking at myself and then I want to re-record it, but I think this one's gonna stay up for a while. Okay, when will YHS reopen? So, there are updated guidelines. On January 14th. California came out with Safe Schools for All, which did offer a path for our secondary schools to open. However, our adjusted daily case rates still have to be at a certain level. And once we reach that point, that's when our conversation can happen a little bit more frequently. But we've already submitted our COVID safety plan, and today is actually our 7th day. So I'm not sure if we've heard anything back yet, but if you don't hear anything back within 7 days, your COVID safety plan is automatically approved, and it's also, I believe it's posted on the CDC, on the CDE website already, the California Department of Education. And we can talk more about secondaries later, but I really want to just cover our elementary questions, because right now that's sort of our big question is, what's going on April 6th? How's this going to look? What precautions are in place to separate the students? So we're still going to have enforcement of masks. We're going to have, in some cases there will be barriers. There will be social distancing, and we're going to have what's known as stable groups. So it's not quite like what you had heard last year, but we are going to take all the precautions so that our students are not at a higher risk for either contracting or spreading the virus. But again, I'm not going to get into the science or the data on that. It's not my job to interpret data. We just have to follow the California State Department of Public Health. Okay, it looks like there was another question about, okay, will there be a teacher present during in-class time? It's going to vary by school site, but there will be somebody present during that time, and it's going to be an enrichment opportunity that's going to look different at every single school site. There's going to be opportunities for our students to expand on their core curriculum and focus on things like STEAM, PE, music. But more information about that will be coming out from your specific school sites. And I'm just scrolling through some of these. There have been a lot of ideas presented, and every single idea is appreciated. And by all means, if you guys have any questions, I am going to put, or any suggestions, I'm going to put my email in the chat towards the end of this, and you can send me an email with anything you've got. I've been going through trying to tick away at what I've got, but everything that you guys send me, I make sure that it gets relayed to the superintendent or to district leadership so that we can talk about it for future plans, because no idea is a bad idea. Nobody's ever done this before, so all of your ideas are happily welcomed. And that's correct, Rachel. Our Right now, we're only going to be talking about elementary opening. Although there is the plan out there for secondaries. Once we reach that point and we're far enough into the planning process, we can start talking about that. So just to clarify from earlier, will a teacher be present during both the A and B sessions of in-person? Yes, a teacher will be present. And then on the off day, when A is on site, B is going to be working on asynchronous work and vice versa, but a teacher will be on site for both of those. If you really want your student to be in a certain group, whether A or B, I know we didn't put a preference on the survey, and I don't want the school sites to get bombarded with a lot of phone calls, but they're the ones that are going to be setting up the schedules. It will not be us. Will in person be in engaging classroom environment or study group environment? Each school site, like I said before, is going to be different, but we really want to make this an engaging environment. Our students have been outside of the classroom for so long that we're hoping to use the last portion of this school year before we roll into summer as a great way for our students to get back in, even if it's for a short period of time. And they can interact with each other, interact with teachers, and really expand on what they're learning in their morning distance learning sessions. For those of you having issues with Aries, there have been a large increase of users hopping into the Aries parent portal. Um, so yeah, just keep trying, but you can always call our technology help desk, or you can call your school site if you're having difficulty getting in, or if you don't have um, or if you don't have access already. So if you want to find more information about the safety precautions that our schools are going to be following, you can check out our district website. And then when I send out the FAQs, I can send out the California Department of Education and California Department of Public Health's website that will list our COVID safety plan. And it's going to list out all the factors that are coming into play to try to mitigate the spread of the virus and to keep everybody safe. Teachers will be there for enrichment. It may not be the student's teacher for morning. Like I said, it's going to look different at every single school site, but there will be teachers. Sorry, I'm not blanking out. I'm reading the chat over here. Okay, do the kids have to take their laptops from home to school? Absolutely not. We have laptops in the classroom. Um, you know, it's really, again, going to be up to your school site what the students need to bring to school, but obviously the less that they can bring from home to the classroom is less of a chance of any kind of cross contamination, either bringing it home or bringing it to school. So if you want to keep the same teacher and continue distance learning, you are absolutely still going to have that opportunity. Both groups of our students, whether they're in person, hybrid, or if they're going to be in distance learning, your teacher is not going to change, because that morning block of time from 9 to 11:45 is going to be all distance learning for everybody with the same teacher that you've had all year, unless you have a substitute in place. Will this plan be for the remainder of the school year? You know, things change so quickly, and it's been pretty incredible the amount of changes that come and how quickly they come, and how little heads up that we get. We find out about the same time that everybody else does, and then we really try to work quickly to get a plan together so that we can send it out to you, and so we can do what's best for our students. Is there a chance it'll change? Absolutely. There's always a chance it'll change. If this year has demonstrated anything, there's always that chance. But for the time being, as of today, this is going to be our schedule, barring any changes through the end of the school year. And we are focusing on some other programs that you'll hear about soon. And we're always actively planning for the next school year. And again, we're really hoping that we can meet our community's needs. And if there's any suggestions you have, really, like I said earlier, you can just send me an email, because your feedback is everything to us. You are the backbone of all of our schools. Really, our parents have been the intermediary between learning and their students this year, and we need you guys. So send me an email. No comment goes unheard, I promise. So the teacher in the afternoon question, again, every school site's going to be different, but our teachers in the afternoon are also going to be working with doing asynchronous work for their other students, because there's still going to be distance learning students, and there's still going to be the offsite A or B depending on the day of the week. How many hours will the students be attending each day? So it'll be from 1 o'clock to 2:45. And then depending on the entering and exit of students at each school site, that could change within a few minutes, but it is going to be from 1 o'clock to 2:45, 2 days a week. And we are, in addition to these times that your students are going to be coming on campus, it seems like a short period of time, but it's going to roll right into a lot of these different clubs and activities that we're trying to plan with our school sites. And we're also going to try to expand our after school opportunities for our students by setting up with STARS. We've partnered with STARS in the past, and Superintendent Binks is currently talking to them to set up something for childcare, so you don't have to come drop your student off at 1 o'clock and immediately be back in an hour and 45 minutes. We're really hoping that we're going to have a great group of clubs, a great group of activities for your students to be going to after school that'll be on site. Sorry, I am scrolling through the ones I missed. So we did, I had the opportunity to interact with a lot of our parents yesterday, and the teacher change, the teacher change issue with our last schedule, that was continually brought up. There wasn't necessarily a survey that that brought up all the negatives, but we do receive a lot of feedback from our parents, and we really do mold a lot of our choices based on what you say. So please, by all means, contact us, and we're going to do the best we can to make decisions based on what our majority wants to see, what our majority thinks our students need, because nobody knows your students better than you do. So each school is going to have a set of different clubs. That's going to be more of a school site. Um, those are going to be school site programs to push out. I will let you know about childcare once I know. And then on social media is going to be a great place for you to find out about a lot of this information. As our school sites are pushing out information about clubs and after school programs, we'll continue to share it on our district webpage. So make sure that you're following your school site social media, you're following the district social media. And there's a lot of really great parent groups out there where parents are willing to help each other out, and they're out there posting all the information they can for the school site so that everybody receives the same information. State testing, I won't cover anything that has to do with state testing right now. Really just going to cover our return to school. And I appreciate all of the incredibly nice comments. Is it possible to have stars also before 1 o'clock? That I'm not sure about. I will send out more about childcare once we all know more and we have a plan in place. We will let you know about childcare. You know, there are quite a few schools that are doing the half in person, half at home. That is not the route we're going to take, but I will make sure to forward on what you've said about that. Okay. What other questions do we have here? I will scroll up right now, Rachel, and see if I can find it. What I can do, it says, why can't we Zoom the lesson for kids at home and go full day, 2 days a week? What I can do is I can forward that suggestion on, but really all I can offer you right now are answers about what we're doing. I really have, I have a small, minimal role in the decision-making process. I am only here to push out what the plan is and to advocate for you. So if you have any ideas like that, by all means, keep forwarding them to me. I drive them crazy about how much stuff that I forward on, but I'm glad to do that. No, your child is not going to. We're not going to be changing the cohort program. Your cohorts are still going to exist. We're just not going to be accepting any other students at this time. Will students be given the opportunity to stay home this way the rest of the year? Absolutely. Distance learning is still going to be an option. We are going to still offer distance learning in the morning for everybody. And then in the afternoon, we're going to have equitable enrichment for our students that are going to remain in distance learning. By no means is there going to be any less of an opportunity for our students staying in distance learning as those that are coming in person. If you don't feel safe sending your student or it's not feasible, distance learning is still going to be a great option for you through the rest of the school year. So what exactly will they be doing in the afternoon? Like I said, it's going to be different at every single school site. I can't answer something as specific as that because of how many school sites we have. It really is going to look different each wear, and they're going to have a teacher in front of them. It's going to be positive, and it's going to be good for the students. We're not just going to, we're definitely going to put a teacher in front of them. It's going to be it's going to enrich their core curriculum, as well as it's going to give them an opportunity to kind of get that social and emotional time that they've been missing out on all year. Have all the teachers gotten the vaccine? Um, so San Bernardino County did open up vaccines to educators recently. Um, I really can't share what percentage of our teachers have gotten the vaccine because I don't know. But I can tell you that San Bernardino County has been distributing it to educators. Sorry, I'm scrolling through right now. I can answer a lot of the overarching questions. I know a lot of the questions are very specific um, to what's going to be going on at your school sites, and really the best thing you can do is contact your school site. They'll be able to answer a lot of the questions for you after you give them some time. This the planning process. We have an approval for April 6th, and we're still in the planning process. So we're trying to figure out what's going to be absolutely best for your students and what's going to be safe. That's correct. Teachers are not mandated to get the vaccine. Yes, in-person school will start at 1 p.m. and end at 2:45. That'll be 2 days a week. I'll have to get back to you, Elena, on the kinder question. I'm not sure, but I will reach out to a few of our site principals, and I will get an answer, and I will include it in the Q&A. And yes, in the morning everybody will still be interacting in distance learning, whether it's through Zoom or through Google Meet, whichever of the video messaging platforms that your teacher selected for this year. All right. Are there any questions that I missed? It's that's close to correct, Lydia. For some of our students, it's going to be asynchronous learning, while there will be students on campus with a teacher in the classroom and expanding on that core curriculum that we were talking about. Yes, if you continue to stay, if you want your student to stay home and continue in distance learning, your teacher will not change. They will still be with their teacher they've had all year from 9 to 11:45. I can do a Q&A as often as everybody would like. Um, I this helped me prepare. I can put down more questions for next time. I can set up some longer talking points. Let me know what you want to see, and I am more than willing to do this as often as you want. So if your son has difficulties making it to group because of your work schedule, then just like any other absence, it's best to communicate that with your school site. It isn't going to be. It says my son does really well in distance learning, but I don't mind him getting teacher kid interactions. So do we know if space is limited? We won't have space won't be limited. We really want to open up this opportunity to all of our students and parents that want to take part in it. If you really want your student to have a little bit of in-person interaction, then by all means answer that on the survey. Melissa, will the teachers be helping them with assignments already assigned earlier? That's going to be a really good school site and classroom question. How is this accessible to parents with disabilities? So if you're referring to the live chat, what I can do is I can set up closed captioning on my future videos. That I could see that being extremely beneficial. What I can tell you is, um, the our teachers are part of our team, and they help us make these decisions. But I'm not here to talk about or represent anything other than our school district, and that includes our teachers. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to advocate for you, and I'm here to let you know that we're here for you, that our district is here for you, and we're going to do everything we can to take care of your children. Sorry, I'm missing a few of them as they're coming through here. Will siblings attend the same days? What's going to be important is um, Group A is Tuesday, Thursday. Group B will be Wednesday, Friday. For households staying on the same schedule, uh, it would be beneficial to absolutely talk to your school site about this once you receive your schedule. But I have no doubt that they're going to try their best to make the accommodations so that you're not having to make multiple trips a week that would be unnecessary. Will extra cleaning people be hired? We have we have custodians at every single school site, and they've been working through the course of this to make sure that our school sites are clean. Even when students were on campus, when our staff were just on campus, they they have been working diligently. Some of them work at more than one site when nobody's there, and they make sure that our classrooms are clean. They make sure that our offices are clean, and our custodians have done an amazing job this year. For students with an IEP, that would be best to discuss with your IEP team. I don't want to make any suggestions or generalizations when each situation could be so different. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. You totally shouldn't feel bad for me though. I really I love being able to interact with everybody every single day, and transitioning into this being my full-time job, talking with our parents. I feel really lucky that I get to. Yes, absolutely. Will schools have enough Lysol and cleaning supplies? Our school sites will have more than enough PPE and cleaning supplies to make sure that our school sites are safe for our students. Uh, it just like before the pandemic, cleanliness is key when you're bringing your students to school. Every concern that gets brought up, I absolutely bring it up. Each of you are heard. Every single comment that you send me or every single comment that you post in this chat, it gets forwarded on. I make sure that your comments are heard. All right. Well, I think barring any other questions, are students allowed to switch back and forth between in-person and distance learning, or will attendance be affected? So attendance will come into play if your student is signed up for in-person learning, and let's say they're in Group A, so they would come in on Tuesday and Thursday. Attendance will be taken for those students that are attending those afternoon sessions. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to put my email in the chat, and you are more than welcome to send me an email absolutely anytime. I monitor my email all the time. Sometimes um, sometimes my phone dies, but for the most part, I will try my best to get back to you in a timely manner. And as always, check out our district website for updated information and any of our social media sites. You are also more than welcome to message us on social media, and we will get back to you, which I'm putting into the chat right now. I appreciate everybody for showing up. Website is, hey, if you have any suggestions for the website on how it would make it easier, when when you're navigating it every single day, it starts to make a lot of sense. So it makes a lot of sense to me because I'm on there every single day. But if you have suggestions on how we could make our website better for and easier for you to navigate, I am all ears. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. All right, bye everybody.